Hey everybody, it's Shelly. Let me tell you something. I got back from a wonderful trip to Europe and came back to a major change on Facebook. Seems like every time I go on a major vacation, Facebook has a major shift. So I'm going to go through the changes and keeping in mind that they are making these changes live 24/7, 365. So we'll see if we can get through this. It's going to be a longer video, probably at least 10 or 15 minutes because there's a lot I want to cover. Let's go ahead and let me run you through a few of them first. The most important changes are the news feed and top stories. You choose what you want to see, but you can actually train Facebook to let it know what you think are top stories that you want to see in your news feed versus what they deem top stories. Also, smart lists. I think I did my last video hit this, but it's really distribution lists, but they have also created lists for business, family, where you used to work. They're basically taking your information and creating lists from it, and you can continue to create your own. And these are going to be very, very important because one of the things that we're going to talk about are these smart lists and the ability to select the audience you want to see certain things. So it's audience selector. The profile page is going to be now called the timeline, although I just heard yesterday that somebody already has that word timeline, and now Facebook is going to be taken to court. So timeline is going to change its name, but for now we're going to call it timeline. And the cover photo, which we'll look at, there's your pixels, 848 by 313, if you want to create a cover photo for your new profile page. These are going to be rolling out, the new pages, over the course of the next few weeks. I happened to get mine early just so I could learn about it. It is not public yet, but I will show you what it's going to look like. Also, there's a ticker now that's very much like a Twitter stream, which we'll look at. These are things, status updates being sent out. You'll see a ticker. Yesterday I could turn that off. Today I cannot, so I don't know if that's going to be an on-off feature. It's very annoying. I think it is. Maybe you like it, but I hope I can turn it off. Subscribe is a new way to follow a celebrity or a politician or a public figure. It's a lot like the follow button on Twitter. I see a lot of business people like myself are choosing to have the subscribe button. If people subscribe to your personal profile or your timeline, they are not necessarily your friends. They only see what you post that you make public. We will look at what that means in a minute. The audience selector, who sees what, very important. Fan page metric, new fan page metric. If any of you have been in my classes, I've talked about likes are great, but what's really important on Facebook is your engagement. How engaging and is your content, who's liking it, who's commenting on it, who's sharing it. So very important to be aware of this new metric you're going to see on Insights on your fan page. You will no longer be able to send updates to fans, which is no big deal in my opinion because nobody ever saw them. They were buried in the messages section on your profile. And then in June 2012, no more Facebook markup language. Anybody that was using that for their custom pages, you need to go to iframes, but you have some time on that one. So the Twitter follow prompts, very much like the subscribe feature on Facebook. The smart lists on Facebook are very much like Google Plus lists. You can subscribe to public updates on personal profiles. You can see anything that's posted publicly on your personal profile without being friends. Many public figures, as I mentioned, are merging their Facebook fan page into their personal profile now. I don't plan on doing that. I like having my own business page, but notice this is something that's going to be available. And you can see who shared your post. That's also coming. You're going to see who shared what under a button that's coming. More changes. You can write on the fan page wall and like and comment whether you've liked that page or not, which is brand new. Not sure I'm crazy about this, but you can go to any business page, fan page, and write on the wall whether you like that page or not. You can tag any fan page in your posts whether you like it or not. So very big changes there. And status updates, when you see the new timeline, you're going to notice that the status update trails down the side with you, so you can go into a past time and add any pics or events that might have occurred that you want to add. And we'll come back to how to buy my new book, Get Real People, How to Use Social Media for Real Relationship Marketing, available on Amazon. And if you send me your receipt, email it to sroth@shellyroth.com, I will send you a book plate signed by me. So we'll come back to this. Let's head on over to Facebook and take a look at the brand new profile page. Now notice I'm not publishing this, I'm just learning about it, and I have a release out here. Some people actually already have it. They started rolling it out. Mine, it looks like, won't be out till October 10th, where you're actually forced to use the new timeline. So let me run you through. Notice the big thing, no longer do you have 4 pictures, you have a cover photo, and you can choose what to have in that cover photo. And I am going to have this picture or any picture edited and add some information. It will not be clickable, but it will show my website, it'll show Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. I thought I'd have that ready today, but I don't. But you want to consider, again, this is your personal profile, you still want to keep it light and fun. And you'll notice many places you can go in and edit your picture and edit all these things. So let's continue down the page. Before I leave the cover picture, notice on the right, this is your timeline, and it basically goes back to the beginning of your life, and any information that you have given it, like if you worked at a certain company in 1990 or 2000, will be in your timeline. You don't have to show those things. As I scroll down, you'll notice if I go into update info, it's going to take me to these events that occurred, and you'll see there's all my work in education. Now if I decided I didn't want to show some of these things from back in 99 or 2008, I can just go in and exit out, remove that employer, and it won't show up in your timeline. Okay? And we're going to look at all this in a moment, but let me kind of stay on point with showing you how to navigate the new profile, or as they're calling it, the timeline. You'll notice your picture that might have been there originally is always going to be down there. That original picture that you had, it'll go on top, overlay your cover photo. On the left, it's giving some information. Again, very crucial to have your business page listed there, and there's hover boxes now just about everywhere. You can hover over anything, and it's going to show you different items, either about a person or here's a fan page. So you can hover and it'll pull up information for you. Also, on the what you'll notice over across from this information are friends and photos are locked. You can't change those. So it's going to show your friends and your photos. Then if you decide to have subscribers, it'll show your subscribers and how many subscribers you have. Remember, subscribers are people you don't friend. Even though all your friends are considered subscribers, these are people that can subscribe to your friend feed and only see what you post public. So this is a tough one for me. I'm not sure I'm going to keep that on or off, because it's very, I think, always have to think about what am I sharing, is it public, or am I selecting the audience, am I using the audience selector that I want to see. You'll also notice any applications that you use, that's what that number is. This was really wonky yesterday, so I'm not going to click on it. But any applications that you use will show up right here, and you can move them around. You can actually have these 2 spaces can be whatever you want to be as far as your apps that you use. Scrolling on down the page, you'll notice that there are 2 columns now, and here's your status update. Very crazy, but look at all these crazy things now. In work and education, it's going to give you an opportunity and help you with what to use to update your status. Did you add a job? Did you retire? Did you study abroad? I mean, all kind of crazy. Other life event. Under the heart, did you get engaged, got married? It's actually walking, add a pet, add a child, lost a loved one, all kinds of life events that it's saying, okay, I just got engaged. If I select got engaged, it's going to basically give me an opportunity to complete the status update, and then go ahead and make it, here's that audience selector, public, friends, custom, or any of the lists that you have. Okay, so let me show you that real quick. Public, friends, or I would say this would be custom. I might say I only want friends of friends to see this, or specific people or lists. That's where those lists become very crucial, because you select who is going to see what. Now I'm going to go ahead and cancel this, but you can see what's going on. It defaults to public. You just want to be very aware when you share something that who you're sharing it with. Scrolling down, back up rather quickly, the This is living. You can click that. It'll give you options, health and wellness. This is like so goofy to me. I really think they're catering to a younger audience, but broke a bone, had surgery, overcame an illness. I mean, they're really drilling into your life and your timeline, as they call it. And then add a hobby, learned a language, got a piercing or a tattoo. Again, prompting you to share this information with your community on Facebook. Remember, this is not your business page. This is your personal profile. All right, so there's your status update. Nothing new there. Remember, this is what other people see. This is not your news feed. News feed really didn't change, although there are some options we'll look at. So notice 2 columns now going on. Notice that I can either edit or remove or feature something on my timeline. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because a lot of this is very self-explanatory. Scrolling down, it's just posting pictures that I've put in and changes that I've made. Same as your news feed, just 2 columns, which I think is kind of overwhelming and confusing. But as I scroll down, I'm going to go ahead and really scroll down. It's actually taking me, it can take me all the way back. I'll just click 1990s to anything that I might have told Facebook that they have saved that I posted was happening in the 1990s. And as you can see, I don't think I have anything, but as I scroll up the timeline, you can start seeing, oops, went to the top. Let me go ahead and click 2000. You can start seeing it's taking back to anything that I posted from when I got on Facebook in 2007. Let's see if we can try this again. Remember, Facebook is working on this, so it's going to be kind of flaky. Let's try this again. 2010. Not letting me go there. Yeah, it's just giving me current. But basically the timeline is just all of this. And if you don't want that information to show up, you just need to go in and update and edit and change all that on your profile. I'm not going to publish this just yet. I'm not quite ready. You also notice up at the top, I'm on the profile page or the new timeline. And the home page is where the news feed is, what you're used to seeing on your news feed. A couple changes on that. On the left-hand side, you'll notice there's all of your lists, and you can expand that and see more. Very crucial that you go in and create your list. Now, smart lists is something that Facebook came up with in response to Google Plus circles, in my opinion. But you can see these were actually made by Facebook. Family, acquaintances, close friends, BMC. It pulled my information. And all of these with specific icons are made by Facebook, and then these are my lists below it. How do you create your own list? Right there, create a list. So we covered most of that in the past. There's all your lists. Here's the applications. Applications are going to be more and more important because now they've partnered with Netflix and Spotify, which is the music site. And in your ticker, which I haven't showed you, I don't see it showing up here. Again, they're working on this. The ticker is going to, like Twitter, have constant flow of updates, and if you hover over somebody's post about music or movies, you're going to be able to hover over that and actually click through and like that song, go to the Spotify site and download that music. Wow, I can't believe the ticker's not showing up. That's pretty cool, actually. So that's the new timeline. Let me go back up to the top, to the home page. Let's see if the ticker pops up, because I do want to show you that. Yeah, the ticker is right over on the right, and obviously it's not showing up, which is kind of disappointing because, oh, there it is. There we go. As you can see, the it's constantly moving, and when somebody likes something, you can hover over, although this isn't working, it'll hover over, there we go, and it'll pull up that person's information. You can add them as a friend. It gives you some basic information. This is constantly in motion and changing. Mashable, something I follow, you can hover over and you can see all the comments somebody's making on that Mashable account. You can actually see, here's all the ticker, and let's see if we can find music. Here's Jim Lumpkin, Listen to Stronger on Spotify, so I'm hovering over that and I can actually go listen to that song, like it, make a comment. I mean, it's really become I like to turn this off. Yesterday I could turn it off, but today I don't see that. I don't think they're going to let you turn that off. Okay, let's go back to the profile page. Let me see real quick. Is there anything on your news feed that's different? Oh, yes. Notice top stories, most recent stories. Now, you can train Facebook to determine what might be a top story. So everywhere you see a gray box like this gray triangle, it's Facebook's determined this is a top story. I can go in and basically say, no, this is not a top story, or yes, this is a top story, and train Facebook to feed me what I want to see in the top stories. Although what I prefer to do is to see most recent, which is the old way we could do it. We would see most recent, and now instead of top, I'm seeing everything in time stamped order. Oh wow, see, that just jumped back. Yeah, this is like everything top stories in recent stories. So notice now that is something that is new. I like most recent versus them telling me top, and I really don't have the time to train Facebook. But everywhere you see that box, you notice Facebook's determined that's a top story. All right, so most recent is what I'd suggest. That's what I like to see. I want to see most recent, not top. But you can train it to do what you want. So let's go back to the profile page. Looks like I'm almost at 16 minutes. I'm going to try and wrap this in 4, even though I haven't covered everything. So the big news, like I said, timeline. There's your recent activity, 2 columns. I find it a lot of information, like, unlike. The big thing again is when you decide to share something and you say, I want to share this, anything that lets you share, you want to go in, and if you share it, you want to determine who it's going to go to. And always look at that custom, that drop down, and we've covered this on distribution lists before. This is where you say share it with this list, that list, friends. Public means everybody, 800 million people on Facebook now, or you can make it custom, friends of friends through the custom. So anything you're going to share, anything you're going to post, you want to be very cognizant of what audience you are selecting. And again, on the timeline, you want to check that out, because a lot of people might not want to be sharing all that information. Let me show you somebody who I just met the other day, and I really like what he's done with his cover photo. As a matter of fact, I'm going to possibly start working with him to provide custom cover photos for my clients. If you look up here, this is Hugh, and you see his 2 things that he's showing. I don't know how he got rid of the other 2, because I heard that likes and friends and everything have to show up here, so I'm going to have to ask him how he did that. But the bottom line is, this is his cover photo, and I love this. I play here, I work here. Even though this is his personal profile, he's figured a way to get some mileage out of this for his business, which I think is important to all of us if we're on Facebook and using it for business. So I'm going to get to know Hugh a little bit better, learn more. As you can see, once you subscribe to something, you can say, I want to subscribe, I want all updates, most updates, only the important updates. I don't necessarily want to add Hugh as my friend, but I do subscribe to him because I want to hear what he says publicly. So everybody can do that. If you want people to hear what you say, I am going with the subscribe, so that people can, that I don't want a friend, can subscribe to me publicly and get my public updates. Okay, so updating information we kind of covered. Let's look at that real quick, because I'd like to be done by at least 20 minutes. And this is where you can go in, if it will let you, update information. Let's try again. Okay, and everywhere you see a pencil, you can edit. Notice about you, this is all about my business. History, if I turn these off, then you won't see anything past. Work and education, I just added my book as a project, my new book, just to have some mileage on that. So you can use add a project to add some information. Then your colleges will show up because you've given it that information. You can fill out basic information, and then your contact info. And again, all of these things, you can decide who sees what. So you go in, edit every one of these pencils. Nothing's really changed. It's pretty easy to see. And anywhere you see a globe, that means it's public. So you can change that. If you don't want everybody to see it, You say friends, only me, custom, or certain lists. We've kind of gone through that. And then on the view activity, you can view how people see your timeline by clicking that and then giving that friend's name. So if I put somebody's name in here, like AK Stout, whoops, there we go, Facebook is jumping around, then it'll show you what I've allowed AK to see. And since she's a friend of mine, she can see a lot. But if somebody wasn't a friend of mine, they just subscribed, they wouldn't be able to see some of the things on here. So I know this can be somewhat overwhelming. There's a lot to go through, but I wanted to make this video. I got back from Europe and was basically, whoa, all these changes. And they're rolling them out slowly but surely. So you're going to be seeing these changes come your way. Looks like mine's going to be available the 10th, although this lawsuit on the timeline, use of the word timeline, may postpone the rollout of timeline, which wouldn't be a bad thing, because I think it's going to be somewhat overwhelming for a lot of people. And I'll be interested to know who abandons ship at Facebook and decides to go over to Google Plus and start working over there. Of course, they don't have that ready for business yet. Shelley Ross, please do check out my book on Amazon. We had our live launch party last night, our virtual party. We made it to number 6 on Amazon in the marketing category. I was pretty excited about that. That was a couple weeks ago. So check it out. Love for you to buy it. Love to sign a book plate for you and mail it to you. If you have questions, please do visit me at facebook.com, Springboard Works. Like the page or not. You can write comments without liking the page now. And let me know how I can help you. Give to grow. That's my philosophy. Have a fantastic day.